Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Buffalo Bridal Podcast. We have a very special guest today, but before I introduce her, hello, Ron from Buffalo Bartenders.
What's up,
How you
guys?
doing?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm good.
Molly from the
Hello.
Wedding Touch.
What's going on?
Having a good day?
Oh, yes.
Heather from Unfiltered New Wedding.
That's me. You
Yeah.
can't miss me. Today we have a very special guest. We have Abby Alexander, and Abby is a recent bride.
I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about all things
Yeah.
wedding planning from the perspective of a recently married lady.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
first
Thank
of all.
you.
How is married life treating you?
Blissful.
Oh.
Obviously.
We
No,
still in
it's
the
great.
honeymoon
Is your husband listening?
Yeah, we'll see about that. No,
We'll see how the rest of it goes.
Yeah, it is weird. Like the thing that I notice the most, sometimes I struggle to say husband.
Yeah.
Like all throughout the engagement, I was just like my boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even now it's like husband. Like I'm like, ooh, I have a husband. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's an adjustment
I
for
love
sure.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us where you got married,
Yeah.
the date, all that stuff. Give us like the highlight
Yeah.
overview.
Okay, so we got married on September 21st, 2024, and we got married at the Buffalo History Museum. We did our rehearsal dinner at the Loft, and yeah, is that good?
How many
Yeah.
guests did you
That's
have?
great.
Okay, so I think we invited like 210.
Mhm.
And we ended up, it was very big. And then I think we ended up with like 190.
Okay.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Not bad.
Mhm.
When you guys were like entering the planning process, what was like the most important part of it? Like, what did you like want to focus on the most? The venue, the food, the music.
Yeah, my biggest concern was the band. Like, I wanted a band. I feel like when I was little, my cousins had bands at their weddings, and that's the thing I remember the most out of like all the weddings I went to. So at the start of planning, I was like, non-negotiable, I need a band. I'm Italian, my family's Italian, we're concerned about the food, obviously. I want to make sure that people have food, good drink, all that stuff. But the biggest thing for Bill and I was incorporating both of our interests. Because obviously, naturally, I'm going to say, I want this, and he's going to sit on the sidelines. But,
See,
Yeah,
Ron, stereotypes are
Naturally.
And here I am telling the groups to get involved.
Yeah, I
You
know.
don't even want us.
I mean, I really did want him to be involved, and he did, the stuff he could do. He built our wedding sign. I'm not going to have him go out there and talk to my florist. Absolutely not.
No.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to let him pick his outfit. We'd end up in like, I don't even know. I don't want to know. So, just both of us kind of incorporating both of our interests was a really big part of it. I still wanted him to be involved, but
maybe to a
yeah, I mean,
A
there
degree.
was limits.
Yeah.
Sure.
the aesthetic had to.
Yeah, it had to be there. Yeah.
So on the day, let's go back to that day for a
Okay.
minute, right?
Mhm.
What was the most like emotional part for you?
Oh my God, I feel like so many emotional parts, like from the beginning.
Mhm.
I think getting ready with all my girlfriends, like all my bridesmaids, right? I had bridesmaids from all walks of life, best friends from birth, friends from high school. I had one of Bill's good friends who's now my good friend in the wedding. My two sisters were my maid of honor. So getting ready, hair, makeup, it's so fun. We had a flower girl. I had a flower girl. Having her there made it so much better for me. She getting her makeup done, her hair done. It was like she wanted to be a part of everything. It was amazing. So that whole aspect of it, just the getting ready was so fun and like emotional. We're telling stories. My sister's boyfriend was steaming my dress at one point. I was like, tearing up. I'm like, he's so sweet, And then in that morning as well, like seeing my dad, I did a first look with my dad.
Oh, nice.
That was just like
I did
so
that too.
right. It's so emotional.
It was he was way worse than I was.
I
I
was
think
like,
dads always are though.
Oh my
know,
God.
I know.
No. My dad was stoic.
Well,
And my job that day was to make him cry.
Yeah, right.
We were like, what can we do?
What can we
to like
do?
make a tear. Single tear is fine.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting because there were so many people at the house. My bridesmaids, obviously my mom, her best friend, and then I even had my older sister's friends come over because they're like big sisters to me as well. So I did not think he was going to get emotional, and I walked down the stairs and he was crying, and then I'm like, I just paid money for this makeup. Not yet. I got to see Bill first, but that was really emotional. For the ceremony, we had my uncle John married us, and he's like one of the most important people in my life. He's big personality, lovable. He spent like so much time like asking us questions, prepping for the ceremony, which was amazing. And then we had Bill's aunt come in during the ceremony and say a prayer and give some words. So that was so emotional, having like both sides of the family represented. But it was also very comforting because all eyes on me at the front. I was like, like, I don't like this, and nerve-wracking. So having those two people up there with us was like huge. And then the speeches, so emotional. My best friend did a speech at the rehearsal dinner, and I literally have it framed in my little work office at home because it was so amazing. And then my sisters did a speech the day of the wedding. My dad, Bill's best friend, and then my mom's best friend, who's like my second mom, did a prayer. So all those little aspects were so emotional as well. Like the speeches, I really couldn't keep it together.
So waterproof mascara.
Obviously. Yeah, necessary.
And you know, even for the guys, like I feel like the getting ready part is like, wow, this is actually here.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Like we're doing this today. Like don't run. It's
don't run.
Yeah.
That's good advice, Ron.
yeah, don't run. You made it this far. Let's keep going.
I actually have a Snapchat that Bill's best friend saved from the morning of the wedding. Obviously, all the girls are like getting ready, wearing robes, we're having mimosas, like so girly. And then the boys got ready at the loft, and there was a Snapchat of Bill the morning of the loft, and they're like making music with pots and pans.
That's
they're
what
like, what do we
sounds about right.
They need 10 minutes to get ready. They're like, what do we do all morning?
Yeah.
They're like walking around and like dancing around the loft. I'm like, wow, like so stress-free. It must be nice. I'm over here like, what is going on?
Like losing your mind
so
crying every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Did anything like unexpected that like happened that day that like turned out to be a beautiful memory?
Yeah, like something kind of small. So we decided we wanted to do a first look. I didn't want to sacrifice my happy hour. Like I really wanted to be there. And at first I was so against the first look, but then I was like, I want to be at my happy hour. So we did a first look down by the water at the History Museum, right?
It's so pretty there.
It's gorgeous.
So
It was
many
like,
great spots.
Yes, and it was like a beautiful sunny day. We're so lucky. So I went down to see Bill, our photographers, putting everything together for us. And it was like a beautiful sunny day. So there's families like walking around and stuff. So Bill and I are about to do our vows, which is like kind of nerve-wracking. You know, all the emotions are leading up to this thing. And there's all these like people like walking around. There's dogs, and there's this like one specific family that I remember. They're like taking pictures and selfies. They had no idea Bill and I were there. We're like definitely in the background of their pictures, and Bill and I are like trying to exchange vows, but like we were giggling so much because all this commotion was going on. It like actually helped so much with like little comic relief because I was freaking out the morning of, right, about to see him. I'm like, you know, everything's happening now, and then just all these people who are so nonchalant about like in the middle of our wedding vow. So it was something unexpected, but it really worked out for both of our benefits. Yeah.
I love that. I accidentally was one of those people for some other wedding. So I was at Hotel Lafayette. We were doing our wedding show. We were wrapping it up, and I went outside to grab something from my vehicle. And I look across the street, and a photographer that I know is standing just on the corner with her camera. And I was like, hi, how are you? What's going on? Just chatting.
Yeah.
And she's like pointing to something. And I was like, I don't know what you're just being completely aloof. And I look up, and on the balcony, like the second or third story of this beautiful Hotel Lafayette, is this gorgeous couple reading their vows to each other.
Oh.
And you're
You're yelling.
you're trying to chat it off.
Oh my
I'm just like, oh my god, I want to just crawl in my own skin.
I wish that you were that person for me. That would have really been amazing.
Yeah.
So going
time.
back to the unexpected. So Molly and I always talk about this, being vendors at weddings, hiding things that go wrong. Was there anything unexpected that happened at your wedding that you found out after the fact and you were like, wow?
Yeah, you had no idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
There it is.
that really made me remember.
Something opened up.
Yes.
So we obviously at the History Museum, so we had tables downstairs. I really wanted that like long table. We did family style, so it's like more conversations at like circle tables. And then upstairs there were some circle tables and long tables. And I was really, for my decorations, focused on candles, like heavy candle, light flower, like kind of romantic. The History Museum really doesn't need a lot of zhuzhing up, so that was nice. So I had my florist provide these like long cylinder glasses for candles to go in, so there's like height. I found out like 2 days after that they were exploding from the heat while people were like eating and like drinking. And I didn't, and every time I would hear all these like shouting and clapping, and I didn't know about it, but all these like candles were like exploding at my wedding, and I didn't know until like 2 days after. But they didn't.
You didn't know?
I didn't
Right,
know.
it didn't
None
matter.
of mine exploded, so that was
Because I've had a candle catastrophe too, where
oh my God.
the candles were dripping,
Yeah.
they were burning. They probably would have exploded,
Yeah.
but we went and just took them out, took them out.
Yeah, it was so funny because I kept hearing all this like cheering. And I thought people were like cheering maybe for me. I'm like, oh my god, stop.
Maybe that's what the new kiss thing. We're not saying
I know.
I
I was like, oh,
anymore.
maybe just kiss. What happened? But no, it was so funny, and everybody's still talking about it, how like hilarious it was. But I didn't know until like a couple days after. It was fun.
Those are my favorite stories.
Yeah.
For us because we hide them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
we do.
right.
I love that. That's so fun.
It was
I
fun.
love when it's just like the blooper reel of the wedding
Yes.
that
Yeah.
you find out
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm kind of a blooper reel in itself. Like, I was like, I don't know, so caught up in everything. I didn't get my dress hemmed.
You didn't?
Who doesn't get their wedding dress hemmed, right? And I changed my shoe because it worked with the pair of shoes that I originally went with,
Mhm.
and then 2 days before the wedding, a new box from some store shows up. I'm like, oh, I'm going with those shoes instead. So my dress was like a little bit long. So in my photos, you can see like. For the first dance, my aunt like took the bottom of my dress and like made a bow out of it. But people are like, oh, it looks so natural. Like I didn't know it was a hair tie.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
dress was all bowed up. But yeah, so that one was on me. That one was on
That's
me.
okay. That's okay. It's a good story to tell
Yeah,
afterwards,
right. And it looked fine. So.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Great photos.
Right.
Great photos.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I look at them every single day. I do. I really do. Still. Yeah.
So let's shift from the day itself to the planning process,
Mhm.
right? So as you guys were planning, like what was the most exciting part about planning, and then what was the most stressful part about planning?
Yeah. So I think going to different venues and like seeing what people have to offer, and then picturing your wedding there, right? I thought that was so fun. We really, I was talking with you about it while it was happening. We really didn't look at that many venues because the minute I walked in the history museum, I was like, I'm
Yeah,
sold.
once you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like so fun. Along that line, like connecting with other vendors and like meeting my photographer and all those people, that was so exciting for me. Making those connections, working with local people, like your wedding, like especially in Buffalo, like everybody's gonna be local. It's gonna be so fun, and some like similar people. So that was really exciting. My favorite part, hands down, was dress shopping. If I can go tomorrow, I would do it all over again 14 more times. Like, I thought it was so fun. I felt like a Barbie doll, like just playing dress up. I loved everything. It was hard for me to pick a dress because I loved everything. But I definitely went in there thinking I'm going to get a certain dress and walked out with an opposite dress. So that was exciting. But yeah, that was really good. And then what was the second? Was it stressful? The week of was really stressful. I thought I had all my ducks in a row. Didn't. I'm not really type A, even though I try to convince myself I'm type A, so I'm not really organized. So like there was no table numbers the week of the wedding. I was like, oh my God, I had to get table numbers. The seating chart was not even done. Like so thank God my sisters and my mother are very organized, and I'm the baby of the family, so they're always like making sure I'm kind of doing the right thing, right?
Like Abby will probably forget this.
Yeah.
Let's just do it anyway.
Yes, that was exactly my family. So the week of the wedding was really stressful, and I wish that I was a little bit more prepared in the grand scheme of things, just so I could enjoy it. Like people were coming into town. It was so fun. I pushed through. I think I convinced myself I was getting sick. So, but I wasn't. I was fine. So just like little details right before were a little stressful to me, but that's just because of my personality. Like, and then honestly, like the morning before the wedding, like the rehearsal dinner, I was like, I don't care. Like none of that matters.
Like
So
it
it
all
doesn't matter.
just
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned vendors. How did you find most of your vendors?
Yeah, so honestly, because you were along with me for a lot of my wedding process, so through Upstate, and then like Instagram or asking friends, asking other people who they used, that kind of thing, just kind of looking at my own,
Awesome. Did you find that once you kind of found a vendor that you liked, that they had an entire network?
Yeah.
That like then you could kind of research on your own?
Yeah, definitely, especially with like the makeup hair girls. A lot of them are connected, and a lot of them work together. So if there's like a vendor that you want, you have to kind of lock it down right away, so it doesn't, they're busy, they get booked. So but good thing my makeup girl recommended my hair girl, and that's how it all worked out.
How far in advance were you starting to book vendors after you got engaged?
Yeah, so the History Museum we booked in a year in advance, maybe actually 13 months in advance. I think we booked it in August. And then everything else was that far in advance, I want to say, especially the band, because we went and like looked at like a couple different bands. They'll do like shows to like showcase their wedding kind of set list, I guess. So we started booking everything. The band was definitely like, because like I said, I wanted that, I needed that band, so I like went around and made sure they were available that day. So I want to say early on in the process, like right after. I just wanted to kind of get it out of the way and make sure everything was set. So I did it right away.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite brides.
Yeah, that's what you should do. That's what you should do.
When you're contacting me 2 months out,
I know.
and then you're
Well,
freaking
tough.
out. Like
Yeah.
it's not our fault that
We're booked.
busy.
Yeah. Well,
especially when it's the priority and when you've
Yeah.
sat down and you're like, I really want a good band.
Yep.
Like then throw those lists out the window and just lock
Get it.
down
Yeah.
what you know you
Like
want.
any checklist that you read is just a guide. It's not
It's just
like
a
you need
guide.
to do this.
Yeah,
you
right,
know?
for sure.
Right. So I would be that bride. It would be a month before my supposed wedding, and I wouldn't have a venue. I wouldn't have a photographer. So I knew if I like wanted to do this, I needed to get everything done right away, or else it would be a couple days before my wedding, being like, "Can you do my hair this weekend?" You know what I mean? So I had to get out of the way because life's busy, and
Yeah.
like, the planning shouldn't be stressful, right?
Mhm.
It gets stressful naturally, but
It's kind of easy to forget things too because
Yeah.
you have so many people not nagging you, but
there's
but
so much
pulling
noise.
you in
Mhm.
100 different directions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, like I said, I had a seating chart with no table numbers. Like,
It's also
I forget.
like your first time doing this.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
like you don't
right.
know
Yeah.
what you don't know.
Exactly.
Which
exactly.
I mean is a great reason to hire a planner for
Mhm.
any of those
Yeah.
people
Mhm.
who are feeling a little bit nervous about it. But
Yes.
you know, like
Yeah.
Molly. What do you think was one of the best investments you made for your wedding? Because weddings get really expensive,
Yeah, very
right?
expensive.
So, like, of all the money you kind of spent, what do you really feel like? Yes, I really feel like my dollars were.
Or can I say my dress?
You
Because
can
it's
say
like,
your wedding. It's your wedding.
I loved my dress.
Your wedding was your dress was gorgeous.
I love my dress. It's in like the closet in the office that I work at home. I literally look at it all the time. I just open up. I'm like, oh, you're gorgeous.
Have you put it back on?
I have not, but I can't bring myself to do that.
No?
But no, I would say obviously my dress. Oddly enough, transportation.
Okay.
I'm so happy. Because originally like my mom's like, oh, that's ridiculous. Don't do transportation. We'll drive everyone. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sit in my dad's Jeep on the way to my wedding. No, I'm not. I'm getting a limo.
Yeah.
So I'm happy I planned that out and kind of like splurged on that a little or invested in that a little bit because then I didn't have to think about it. They had my schedule. They knew where they needed to be and where I needed to be. And like the men had to get picked up and the women and like it was all set. And
The
that made,
organization aspect.
Yes,
you didn't
it
have
was
to worry
like-
about.
yeah.
And everyone's in the
Nice.
same vehicle.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like 5 different vehicles
No.
taking your bridal party.
Someone
Yeah.
got lost. Someone's at a red light.
Yeah,
right,
Someone, whatever. Yeah.
Everyone's
You
together.
know from, knowing me, I'm late for absolutely
I
everything.
was very impressed how early you were today.
I was very proud of myself as well.
Yes.
First time this year, I've been on time for anything, but I'm notoriously late for everything. And the joke was always I was going to be late to the wedding, like running down the aisle, right? So I was like, I have to prove literally everyone wrong. My mom, my dad, my husband, everyone wrong. So I booked the transportation to negate that issue.
You have to know yourself. You
I know.
You just
I
have to
have to be
understand
honest
yourself.
with myself. Yeah.
I love it. Is there something that was like maybe budget friendly or DIY that you ended up doing that you're really happy you did do DIY and not spend the money on?
Yeah. So Bill built all of our wedding signs.
Mhm.
And it was like, some plywood and I mean I wasn't involved in that part, but like, it was like easy and then he got to be a part of it.
Mhm.
So him and his friend
See?
built those.
Got to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did have his responsibilities.
Yeah.
So that and then we thrifted a lot of the frames that we used for like the memory wall and then the seating chart.
Okay.
And then like I said, I was so last minute with like the table numbers and candles because I had to supply a lot of my own candles for the History Museum. So like Amazon, they were cheap, and then like Facebook Marketplace, I got a lot of stuff off that. And then something actually, because the History Museum is so gorgeous, I went crazy with the flowers in the beginning. I wanted all these white roses everywhere, right? And then after doing like a couple months of thinking, I was like, I don't need that much. So I actually kind of cut my floral budget down a little bit just because my venue didn't need it,
Yeah.
right? So I was happy that I did that because the flowers were just like an accent and not like the entire, show.
Yeah.
So I did cut that down a little bit and I was really happy about that.
I think that when couples are looking at venues, I think that's something to really take into consideration is there are these beautiful places that are blank slates, but you need to bring everything and you need to add all the decor and the floral and all the things versus some of these other places where it's all this built-in character.
Yeah.
That aspect, that line item on your budget is just not going to be as big.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we were looking for too, because again, I'm not super organized, I'm not super type A. If I would have had to like bring everything in, we would have not had forks or something like, you know what I mean? Like we wouldn't have
Chopsticks.
Yeah.
Running
Yeah.
it would have
Chopsticks. So that's
Local
exactly
Chinese spot.
we knew what we needed in our venue, and that's why I want the history museum, because I didn't have to bring all these things in and like really go over the top of decorations, and I could save money there.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So let's talk about people who are engaged and your advice as a seasoned
married
wedding.
woman.
Gone through the process already. So what's like one piece of advice you'd give to couples who are currently planning their wedding?
Yeah, I think be present. It goes by so fast. Like, I literally woke up the morning of my wedding. I was like, I can't believe we're here. It feels like I was a year ago, like just booking everything, right? So I think be present and like don't let it be stressful. It's naturally going to be stressful with anything like extra on your plate, such as planning a wedding. It's going to be stressful. There's going to be a lot of noise, as we were talking about, but make it about the two of you and be present doing it.
Yeah.
It's easy to see things on TikTok and Pinterest and be like, I want all this jazz, but at the end of the day, it's about the two of you. So just make it fun. I saw a TikTok. It was like every time you have to sit down and do wedding planning, like pour a glass of wine or make a cocktail.
Make it a fun date.
Yeah,
that's what we've been saying.
Make it a date night. Like, have it be fun. So Bill and I did successfully do that maybe twice, and then the other times I was like, I can't, I can't get shit going. But those 2 times were our most memorable, like, wedding planning sessions, like, doing the guest list, and then another time, I don't know what we were doing, but like we made a fun cocktail, and it was like so fun. It was very memorable.
You guys were doing a cocktail or something in the beginning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I should have asked. See, this is why you need your cocktail, signature cocktail situation.
Yeah.
See, guys, there's an answer for all.
There is.
You also
There
shouldn't
is.
sweat the small stuff. Things are gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Like forgetting the numbers, not a big deal. You fix that,
Right.
And don't stress over it.
Yeah.
It's not worth the stress.
It's not. Like I said, I thought I was like convincing myself I was getting sick because I was so stressed the week of the wedding. But like I got to the rehearsal dinner, I was like, this is so fun. Like, what was I stressed out about? What was I worried about? There's food, there's drinks, there's my people. That's all you need. Like, it's not nothing, like it's not the end of the world.
Yeah,
honestly.
and people are there to see you,
Yes,
not
exactly.
your table numbers.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Because not my Amazon table numbers.
Yeah, as lovely as I'm sure they ended up being.
They were great. They
were
did
like,
the job.
Yeah, they're there
People
for
knew where
you.
to go.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
They would have found a seat and they would have got food and drink
That's
anyway.
exactly what my mom
So-
told me. She's like, there's chairs, people will sit.
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
That's actually one of my hot takes coming up. So be ready for this one.
Oh, that was a little.
Maybe we can talk about it
Easter
today
egg.
if you want to.
Okay.
What is your thought?
Okay, hold on. Before you ask the question, hot take
Okay.
is basically when Ron just hits
Has an
us with
idea.
these questions.
Oh, love it.
And then we give our opinions.
Okay,
And
yeah.
traditionally, I just shout it out
Yep.
loud
She
and
needs a
obnoxious.
buzzer.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, I see
I
where this
just-
is
It's
going.
like one of those
Right.
shows where I just need to mute Heather and
Yeah.
talk first. And then-
Yes, turn my mic off.
Right,
Let
right.
anyone else talk first. Otherwise, I'll just think, I have an answer for that. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, go.
So I've seen some things where people are not even doing a seating chart.
Yeah.
They're just saying, find a seat.
Mhm.
I've done it. I did it. I did it.
How did that go?
It worked, but as a planner going into it, I was not happy about it. But the reason that they did it this way is because they tried to fit 70 people into 100 people into a 70 person space. So there wouldn't have been enough seating for everyone to sit down at one time. So
It's like
that's why they
musical
Yeah, musical
chairs
chairs.
of wedding?
Yeah.
Like someone
That's
gets
what
up for
they
a
did.
drink and then
Yeah,
take
then
their
it's gone.
seat.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Now that would be fun though, I think.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Like, I can't say that there was any issues, but like as a planner going into it, it stressed me out knowing that people did not have specific spots or tables to be at.
Yeah.
That kind of stressed me out.
My ever loving mind.
It stressed
Yeah.
me out a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, that would stress me out.
Yeah.
I've been to a very casual wedding where it was just like kind of buffet style and kind of more hors d'oeuvres, and then you kind of just sit wherever. It was like
Yeah.
very cocktail hour-y. Yeah, that works.
But that's really
Yeah.
sitting just to eat
Yeah,
your little
yeah.
bites and you're up in
That's not like a formal
20 minutes.
Yeah,
Right.
I just did tables. I didn't do like you're sitting at this chair. you're
Yeah,
sitting
yeah,
at-
yeah.
I
You
just
could do it
tables.
either or,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah.
fine. But
I
as
can
long
never-
as people know what table
Yeah.
to be at,
Right.
that they know they have a spot at.
yeah. No, that would stress me.
I did a couple weddings where they did just hors d'oeuvres and stacks, and they only had cocktail tables.
Oh.
So there was really like nowhere for people to sit, which was kind of bizarre because
Yeah.
you know
It is
you have
bizarre.
your older
Yeah.
family
Exactly.
members. and things like that. You want them to be comfortable.
They don't
But
stand around.
this one had a lot of cocktail tables, and maybe there were chairs and like small tables that I didn't see
Right.
somewhere else. But
Yeah.
Right.
that was an interesting one.
That is
You
interesting.
need to have spots for people to sit.
Think
Yeah.
about the ladies in the heels
Yeah,
too.
like,
Like, I'm a
Listen, it's not my
dancer.
wedding.
That's why we're friends.
I need to be on the dance floor all
Yes.
night, but then I need a minute and I need
Yeah.
to sit down.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Like you need to drink some water and
Yeah.
sit down.
Yeah.
Right.
I was expecting more of a hot take on that one. That really wasn't too hot.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry to disappoint.
Moving on.
I
Come up
also
with
tried
another
to
one.
not.
We'll do better.
Throughout the night, okay, I feel like everyone kind of says, "Oh, it went by so fast," and I kind of barely spent any time with my like new spouse.
Yeah.
Did you guys kind of talk in advance, or how did you guys stay connected throughout the entire day?
Yeah. So after we got into the history museum to do the speeches and eat, and then we visited every single table, and even cocktail hour. Sorry, taking it back a little bit. Cocktail hour, we really stayed together the whole time. And then after dinner, while people were eating, we did the visiting every single table. But then after that, we were on the dance floor all night. Our dance floor was packed, which was so fun. But it goes by like so fast, and we were talking about it. It's like I feel like I talked to everybody, but I didn't talk to no one.
Yeah.
It's all like 1,000 micro conversations, and I think that's makes the night go by so fast. But then I'm like, who did I even talk to? But I was with Bill all night.
Okay.
But if you catch Bill and I out on a Saturday night,
Yeah.
we're together all night too. So like it was just like a night going out.
Did you guys like talk about that and be like, you and I are going to stay together this day? And
not
split it up.
Not really. We
Okay.
didn't really have that conversation. I feel like I said, that's kind of how Bill and I are.
Yeah.
And there was times that I'm going to go dance with my girlfriends and he's,
Yeah.
chatting with people. That's fine. But I did have to have a conversation with him because I was like, we have to go visit every single table. And he was like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, you have to do that. You have to visit with your guests. We invited all these people here. Like, you have to go do that. And so when Bill has a job, he has a job. So he's rushing to the table. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like still in the middle of a conversation. He's on the next table. He's like, hey guys, what's going on? I'm like, you're leaving me in the dust out here talking to Aunt Sue or whoever, and you're over there.
Speed
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
we kind of just did it at the door. So we did our ceremony at 3:00, and then we had a reception at 5. It was a Friday night, so people weren't really getting there. Like the family was there early, so we got to talk to them, and then everyone was getting out of work. So like a lot of them weren't showing up till like 5:30.
Yeah.
We literally stayed by the door and greeted almost every single person that walked in.
Okay.
So we didn't have to do like the table touches.
Yeah.
And
That's nice.
what we tried to keep, the only thing that we kind of struggled with was like, did we get this person? Did
Right.
did too many people walk in at the same time and we missed them? That was the only struggle, but I thought that was like a
I like
perfect
that
way
idea, to be able to say
to
hi
give
to
you,
everybody.
it gives you like an extra 30 minutes to an hour to be with each other.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. During
have a
dinner.
good
and
time.
stuff
I know
like
it's
that.
not easy to do. It's scheduling
Yeah.
makes
Right.
that stuff difficult, but
But you want to enjoy the party too.
Yeah.
that's it.
You know?
Yeah.
You know,
I wanted to be there.
Stressed.
I did not want to miss a minute of it.
Yeah.
That's why we did the first look. I did not want to miss my cocktail hour. We did the cocktail hour on the back steps of the
cool.
like the portico. It was so gorgeous.
That's so
Like,
cool.
I absolutely probably my favorite part of the whole day is just like cocktail hour. We had a grazing table. Tapo had a grazing table, and I didn't want to miss a minute of it.
Yeah.
We did our pictures. Done. We did the ceremony right there. Then mingling with people. It was great.
Of all the vendors that you worked with, did any like kind of go above and beyond and do something that was really unexpected that really stood out to you?
I mean, yeah, I feel like all of them did, but especially Krista from Tapo. And if you know her, she's just so amazing. I felt like, she's so communicative and so detailed with everything. I felt like she wanted me to have a better wedding than I wanted to have myself, right? She was so invested in my wedding. She made me feel very special. She really directed the whole day too, which she didn't have to do, but we were about to do our first dance and she's like herding guests. That's not really her job, but she stepped in and did it.
Yeah.
And then it was like she took her time to really understand Bill and I as well. So she, like the week before the wedding, we had our final meeting. And she was like, you and Bill, like you guys are like a fun couple. How about espresso martini shots at the end of the night? And I was like, absolutely. How
You get me.
Is this Krista or Christina? This isn't Christina that we always talk about,
Krista.
right?
Krista, from Tapo.
Yeah.
She's amazing. So she coordinated these espresso martini shots, and the pictures are amazing of all the guests taking them. It was so fun. So Krista did so amazing. My makeup artist, absolutely loved her. I felt so comfortable and beautiful. And we had a trial, but she's also does all my facials. So we like worked together for a whole year on my skin to like, you know, I wanted to look pretty and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So we did that. And she also gave me this great idea of like the something blue.
Mhm.
So she gave all of her like a group of her friends a blue ring. They were something blue.
Oh, cute.
And so I did that with my two best friends, Megan and Lauren. The morning of the wedding, I gave them a blue ring. I bought myself one too. And they were my something blue. So she was like helping me with little details. She went above and beyond. And my photographer, like everybody just did such an amazing job.
Yeah, there's so much great talent.
Yeah.
And so many amazing small businesses out there that all they want to do is give you your best day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was surprised. Like I love working with people obviously, and like everybody's from Buffalo, it's so fun, but I felt like everybody was so invested in my wedding. I was like, I felt so special. You know what I mean?
I think if you're in the wedding industry and you're not doing that, you probably shouldn't be in the wedding industry.
Right? Oh my God, yeah. They just took care of everything.
Yeah.
Like it was so easy.
It's just so amazing.
It was so great. Especially with my photographer, I want to mention, because Bill and I had never done like a photo shoot before, right?
Yeah.
We're not really into that. So when we had our engagement photos, we're both freaking out. We're like so nervous driving downtown. I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. And then we met our photographer, and she made us so comfortable. Like she really like understood Bill and I's personalities, leaned into it, and like we had so much fun. We all went out and got a drink afterwards. Like it was so fun. Like it was just so great. We were so nervous, and then she really helped us. Like I don't know, the photography thing was something I was worried about. I don't really like my picture taken to begin with.
I think that's a lot of struggle for a lot of couples, because you're the center of attention for everything now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think planners and photographers are the two like vendors where you will be together the entire time.
Yeah.
So like not only do you have to like mesh with their work, but you also have to mesh with their personalities.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want somebody like on your shoulder who you're like annoyed by or doesn't get you.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And I think that was such a big part. Like I said, everybody was so great, but just like making those connections with people, like it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yay. Now the wedding's over.
Yeah.
Now what? Do you guys have any big plans?
No big plans. We're just excited.
Yeah.
You know, he's my best friend. We do
I love
everything
that.
together.
Did you guys take a honeymoon? Do you plan
Not
to take a honeymoon?
yet. Not yet. So right after the wedding, we did a couple days at the lake house in Canandaigua. I think we were there for like 5 days. And it was so great, kind of like not having to go right back to work, like getting married on a Saturday, then Monday, like responding to emails. Like, I don't want to do that.
It's a little anticlimactic.
Not fun at all. Yeah. So we went to the lake house from like Monday to Friday. And then we're trying to plan a honeymoon now. And I had a feeling this was going to happen. We're like, we'll wait a little bit. Personally, like my husband's a hunter, so hunting season was starting. God forbid.
Oh, my brother's one, so I
God forbid we leave during hunting season, right? No. So I had a feeling this was going to happen. We're like, okay, we'll try to plan it for June. And now, sure enough, we have weddings in June that either he's in or I'm in. You know what I mean? So we can't travel during June. So then I'm like, okay, let's try September. Sure enough, weddings in September. So we're like, okay, let's try like October. So we're gonna try to plan for Italy or France or both in October. But
awesome.
Updates.
If we keep us posted.
Sounds amazing.
I know.
Sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. If anybody wants to see Abby's wedding, it is actually one of our real weddings. You can see all the photos. You can see your entire vendor list. And check it out yourself. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing it with
us.
Thank
you for having me.
Yeah, of course.
So just as a reminder, that website is upstateindieweddings.com. Click on the Real Weddings tab and you'll find it there. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. See you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.